Did you take a peeksy poo at Homeboy at all?
Um, I saw a little bit of highlights, but I'm always confused of how I get it. Like you get some of these guys who come out and they are like a Big Ben or some of these like gems, but like these high rated quarterbacks for whatever reason they just always fall down. Like look at Lamar, he was the Heisman winner in college. He won the 25th. You know, then you got Patrick Mahomes who comes up. He's doing a bunch of yards. You had Josh Rosen who got overdrafted a couple of years ago, and now Zach Wilson's coming out of nowhere. I found it weird. Justin Fields, if I'm not mistaken, They won a chip. Trevor Lawrence was the number one. From what I heard, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, since they came out the same draft class and coming up the same at the high school, they were always the 1 and 2 number players in the whole nation. And I find it weird that Justin Fields supposedly might drop in the draft. And I'm like, why do all these championship caliber players in general always fall? Like it's a weird thing to me. Um, I don't
Well,
know.
it's interesting. So I don't know if you heard on the wire. I want to talk about it because I think that a lot of this has to do with race, and it's extremely fascinating to me. First of all, shout out to Max Kellerman for coming out and using his platform and saying like he doesn't really understand how. First of all, let's take some shots as Zach Wilson. Number
Uh
one,
huh.
you never won a chip. Number two,
True.
you never won a Heisman. Okay, so by that standard alone, you shouldn't be the number 2 overall pick. The number 2 overall pick should be Justin Fields. The guy won a Heisman and a championship, and that was in back-to-back years. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Trevor Lawrence goes to 2 national titles, and wins 2 or 1, right, for the most part. So these guys are slam dunks. Now you get some guy out of BYU who's like 190 soaking wet. Obviously, he can play ball, but he's playing with lesser competition. I looked at the tape on him. He never looks underdressed. He never really looks like his offensive line is under pressure. And so Kellerman doesn't understand. So they took what's my man's name? Mitch Trubisky over Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. That's fucking crazy, right? And now Justin Fields to be the number 2 overall guy gets dropped all the way down. Now they're talking about him going 15 to the Patriots, which sounds alarming. And then when you also look at Lamar Jackson, right? Yeah, okay, cool. Lamar Jackson was going to be a little bit of a project, but there was no doubt about it. When you watch this guy, he could fucking score. And it wasn't just with his wheels. When he was in Louisville, he was scoring in the air. He threw for like 40 touchdowns the year that he came out. Again, a black quarterback trending downwards, a 32nd overall pick, and there was guys like Sam Darnold who's going to be out of the league, right?
And you had Jackson, Lamar Jackson. They were telling him to switch positions. They were telling him to be a wide receiver or running back. They were telling him that he should come into the league and switch positions or try out as a wide receiver. And he was like, no. His mom was like, no, I'm a quarterback, and I'm going to stick to this way. Right, so far, I think it has turned out to be the right choice. Um, but I don't know if you heard about this. We got Bucky Brooks was saying that the Ravens should draft Justin Fields, and you give Lamar already his 5th-year option. You let him play this out, and either one you trade him, or two, you know, um, you let him walk. You know, and seeing Lamar's shortcomings in the postseason, you can
You would
see
just see him
why.
you thinking you I'll be honest with you, not to interrupt you. I thought it was forget about take away the like we always like people like to say in the real world or when they're really talking scrutinizing players. Take the name off the jersey,
Mm-hmm.
right? From a financial perspective, it kind of makes sense
Mm-hmm.
because we've talked about it all the time. A lot of high paid guys don't win, right? And
Nope.
so, first of all, Lamar Jackson is beyond talented. He might
Yep.
be one of the best scrambling quarterbacks. I'm not going to say running. Call him a scramble quarterback because running almost makes it seem like you don't
Yeah, they
fucking
can't do nothing else.
stupid. You're one of the best scrambling quarterbacks, if not since Vic, better than Vic,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he takes none of the big hits.
Yeah.
He's extremely he has a pocket presence better than we've ever seen. And homeboy got wheels, he got moves, he hits A, B, box, square, triangle, whatever buttons he's pressing.
Boy, play
Yo,
Madden.
yeah. But and I'm gonna let you get back in. But I thought that from Brooks's perspective of on a financial thing, it kind of makes sense. And he later argued that is it going to be a thing now with maybe as a new concept, like let's say it's the money ball
Yep.
of football, where I can win or I can be competitive with a guy who can be mobile. I don't need this Super Bowl quarterback right out the gate, right? And I mean, listen, the Ravens haven't won a Super Bowl, but they've been really fucking close. And it's not their fault that they run into a buzzsaw called the Chiefs or the buzzsaw called, the Buffalo Bills. And in a large respect, you know, uh, the quarterback in Buffalo was kind of his running mate in the sense of he got taken first, Josh Allen, and then Lamar gets taken next. So I
Uh-huh.
thought from a money situation, it made sense. But please continue.
If they all right, if they go get him, if they go get Julio Jones, let's say for instance, and he still struggles to throw the ball in the outside numbers, the writing's on the wall. Like there's no more need to keep trying to force a narrative. It has nothing to do with black, white, purple, green, Spanish, nothing. Because even Mark Sanchez struggled, and those teams got to the NFC two AFC title games back to back. So it's all about ability to play and to be a playmaker. Now Lamar Jackson is leaps and bounds way better than Mark Sanchez could ever dream of being. And I'm not trying to make them the same comparison. I'm just saying that when you have a quarterback who can't throw outside the numbers, you struggle, especially when it comes to the postseason. And he every year, don't get me wrong, I think we also in this hyperbolic thing where we don't let any players mature and grow. And this is going to be Lamar's fourth year. We can't take that away. He's 30-7. It's all about winning football games, you know, and he's doing it. But now you got to also too, Lamar. You got to take the next big leap coming this season. You already seen the Rams make a mistake. You seen Detroit make a mistake. You seen the Eagles make a mistake. I hope my Giants don't make the mistake and overpay Daniel Jones. We should haven't even drafted him. But you don't know what the like. I get it. It's a 50-50. But take the highest rated player. Take the player who wins the most. And I don't. And Bucky Brooks has a point. Like you got Tom Brady. He keeps just stacking the chips, stacking them up, stacking them up, stacking them up, stacking them up. And if Patrick Mahomes wants to do what Brady does, you got to take less. You just
He
have
already
to.
did, though. He already restructured that deal.
No, for sure. But I'm just saying,
That's the only way you're gonna win. That's the only way you're gonna win.
and
And some people argue that Brady cheated. Another thing to cheat on him because he kept restructuring deals so that he wasn't the highest paid guy on the team at the time.
but he's smart because you know what he does though? He goes Rolex, you pay me 25 million. Aston Martin, you give me 50 million. Uggs, you give me 60 million. As long as you're winning, you're gonna the advertisement is always gonna be there, and you can go and get the money from these brands. Like when his contract is up, Patrick Mahomes is gonna go to Nike and probably get a big ass Nike deal or an Adidas deal eventually. He has the future's bright for him. So he can get all that endorsement money on the outside. And I would be talking to the Chiefs management or the Chief ownership and say, yo, what you investing in? Because I'm investing in that shit too. I'm staying here for the next 15, 16, 17 years. I'm gonna get my money up that way. Like you could get that. Like it's illegal for them to give you money to go and invest it, but all these guys are talking in the same circles with billionaires and multimillionaires anyway. So you can make all that money off the field. Like stack the chips, and you get all the bread off the field.
I couldn't agree more, but I still think that there is a component to being colored in the sport. Before I kick that rock over, first of all, I think that even if he has, let's say, inaccuracy issues, he's on a team. I was just arguing with this with shout out to Uncle Salty. Tell me who his running back is. Tell me who his wide receiver. Tell me
But
who his D
J.K.
end is.
Dobbins had a good.
I get it. I'm not. Listen. First of all, we're junkies, right? So of course we can answer those questions. But I'm talking about to the average Joe, right? Like he's playing in an offense that basically Michael Vick ran in the early 2000s, right? Which is play action, strong running game, and we use multiple tight ends. And then when everybody pulls up, we could throw a deep bomb, and we have the speed. But it's not like he has a Julio Jones or he has anybody really, really compelling. I mean, they haven't really supported him with the cast on offense and on defense. They fire sale every season. Now, Ozzie Newsome doesn't seem, with his history, like a guy who pays dudes, right? He kept Ray Lewis on, he kept T Sizzle on, and he kept Bart Scott on, but that wasn't for long. Those guys moved. I mean, they figured out a printing press on how to maximize draft picks, right? Because everybody thought they were crazy to take Lamar Jackson at 32. That almost seemed like ridiculous, but the guy's electrifying, right?
Yep.
I just think that he needs to get more, right? Because even their running back situation is suspect, right? Also, I believe that the offensive line is garbage. When I see a quarterback running for his fucking life every play, it makes me nervous, right? A la Deshaun Watson, a la Russell Wilson. Like, they don't provide, because you have scramble ability, it's almost like, well, we're not going to spend the money on the offensive line. Now, I think, like I said, taking the name off the jersey, it makes sense. Like, to flip it on its head, I don't know why we're so star crazy for QBs. I'd rather play 500 ball for 10 years and have a stacked squad, get a good system in place, stay with the same coaching staff, same front office group, right? A la, again, Steelers, Green Bay, Giants. For the most part, most of the pieces are there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, if a quarterback lands on your lap, that's great. Now it's crazy that Bucky brings that out. Harbaugh already came out and said they're going to pick up his 50-year option,
which is a no-brainer.
right? But at the same token, like, even if he was phenomenal at passing, did I lock you down for $35 million a year? I mean, look at what Dak Prescott just got.
Mm-hmm.
Dak Prescott is going to hamstring the Dallas Cowboys bringing in anybody else, right?
Well, the thing is too is
it's kind of handicapped because they got the highest paid running back, the highest paid wide receiver, and the highest paid quarterback all on the same fucking team.
Yeah, and the issue with the when it comes to the reason why Dak got $40 million is because, remember, the new TV deal kicks in next year or the following year, one of these, and then $40 million is going to be $25 million for starting
I get that.
quarterbacks.
Yeah,
So, like,
for sure.
when Jimmy G got the $25 million deal, everybody was like, "Oh shit, he's getting paid ridiculous money." And at that time, that was top 5 QB money. And then you had Matt Ryan come, and you had Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson. You had
Jared Goff.
You had Jared Goff. You have Wentz. You have is this quarterback next quarterback up? And it kind of sucks because quarterback is always get paid on potential, and on past do things if you win. So like Mahomes got paid the bread because he won MVP already, and then he won a Super Bowl, and then he got back to another Super Bowl. Like that's showing something. But Lamar, for whatever reason, he just can't throw outside the numbers. Can't throw deep outside the numbers. Everything's over the middle, play action, and I hope he takes another step.
I was talking. Shout out to Harrison Glazer from Take Flight Media. I was talking to him, and he said he was high on Lamar, but he brought up an interesting point why he believes that guys like Justin Fields and Matt Jones are kind of either going up or going down in the draft value in their draft stock because these guys play within systems. We don't really know. I mean, and you're probably going to assassinate me for this, but we don't really know if they allow him to do those throws, right? Like they might look at it and say these are a low percentage passing situation because where they're running the same offense from Greg Roman is the offensive coordinator. Greg Roman was also the offensive coordinator on the Niners.
Yeah.
The Niners weren't a fucking like when he was there a complex offense. They ran the same shit.
Yeah, but Colin had the arm to throw deep. Like you see these guys in practice. You don't think these guys call post route go routes and 25-yard comeback routes in practice? They probably see it in practice, and he probably gets picked off a lot, or the ball gets batted down a lot, or he throws it too high, or he throws it too inside, or he overthrows them. Who knows? Maybe he overthrows them. But they're gonna put you in the best. Coaches put you in the best position to strive. These guys are not gonna handicap him if he can't make these throws, and it's being 3 years in.
I've also seen him make throws, and the guys just don't catch it too.
True.
So it's not. And Hollywood Brown is like fucking my size. You know what I mean? If not smaller.
Yeah, but Odell's short. Antonio Brown is short.
First of all, you can't bring Odell because Odell is like a phenom. I mean, the guy's jump, vertical is through the roof. Like
there's not a lot of tall receivers who are like. There's not a lot of. I would say there's small receivers who dominate. Well, relatively small, or 5'9", 5'10", that dominate. Look at Tyreek Hill. He's 5'8", and he just fucking 5'7".
Tyreek don't have fucking Hollywood Brown speed.
True.
Hollywood Brown doesn't have Tyreek speed.
But Hollywood Brown still has speed. That's what I'm saying.
I feel like they don't run that go route enough.
True.
Because if that was the case, they should be fucking dialing that shit up every few plays. Right? Because Patrick Mahomes, to be honest with you, when you look at him, right, and you look at the tape over the last 3 years, the Chiefs pretty much just run vertical routes and screen plays. That's all they do, really.
Mm-hmm.
And they do button hook passes with the tight end. They're not this like ridiculously complex offense. They have a lot of motion
Yep.
pre-snap, which makes them look complicated. But when you watch them, they don't. Patrick Mahomes is always holding the ball a little too long and looking for the deep pass.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Same thing with Russ. Russ does the same shit. Who else does the same shit? Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Right? But I mean, I don't know. I just feel I'm just saying, like, first of all, the division is brutal. It's the cold. It's difficult. I mean, I was telling somebody this the other day. I would call if I'm the Jets. I call up right now and I get him. He's
They
proven.
should.
I'll call him right now. You get the first. You get the second. I'll give you. I'll give you. He's not even gonna get. He's not even worth, which is crazy. A top 5 pick. You could get. You could get.
Yeah.
You could get Lamar Jackson for like fucking a 2 and a 3, and still keep.
Remember, he's a unanimous MVP. He's gonna demand. I think they'll demand at least one first round pick and maybe a second round
Dude,
pick,
if you give up the
or
fourth
a name player and
the third for Lamar Jackson, and you still have the first pick, which you or the second overall pick, which you could trade back and maybe get some more stuff. I don't know. I just also, to bring in this wrinkle, I think it's crazy because this is something, because homeboy's black, right? And it always seems like situations like this. I mean, the argument came up for Dak. Dak checked all the boxes. Why was Jerry Jones holding so hard on fucking paying this guy if what you just said is true, that the TV contract is going to kick in and fucking Pepsi's going to show up and your sister's going to show up with a check and your daddy going to show up with a check? Meanwhile, back at the Rams, you don't even want to play homie.
I think
right?
the issue is that you have, Jared Goff messed everything up. Carson Wentz messed everything up. These guys who got paid before Dak, aren't showing out. No, even like look at Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson got paid, and they lost. They were up 24-0, and then they got fucking torched. So you have a lot of these quarterbacks who got paid, and it's not working out.
And that's why I think what Bucky Brooks says makes fucking sense. I don't need to fucking, like, even with Deshaun Watson, not to throw more fucking rain on this guy's fucking parade, but right now he's overpaid. You don't win. You're overpaid.
That's the problem.
Right? So now what? Nothing against Lamar, but what? I signed you for 25, and then all of a sudden the seams start to come off. All of a sudden you didn't even make the vertical plays anymore. Now you don't seem to have the same gusto and the same bravado. Whatever the fuck happens, it seems like once they signed that check, right? I mean, one can argue Patrick didn't play as good as he did when he signed.
Even in the Super Bowl, he really had 2 bad Super Bowls. Even the one he won, he had a bad Super Bowl.
And also, foot injury, baby on the way. He was in every fucking commercial. He had the knee injury, right? So these are some of the things, right? But when you look at a guy like fucking Baker Mayfield, I'm like, bro, how are you getting paid? Because you ain't that good, right? You can't even. It takes all of your energy to scramble to the left to throw a pass to the left side of the field, which seems like a no-brainer, right? That's why, I mean, shit, to me, to be honest with you, we looked at our top 5 quarterbacks earlier in the season. I'm really high on Josh Allen. I know he might not check a lot of people's boxes, but he's big and strong and mobile and got a cannon. And all those things work in the cold. Yeah. The same thing for you guys. Daniel Jones, I'll be surprised if they don't sell him right now. Because right now, you guys are looking at both, depending on who you look at, whether it's Bucky's or whether Mel Kiper, you guys are going to allegedly end up with one of the 2 receivers from Alabama.
I know. I've seen that.
So why the fuck are we? I like that. Okay, get us the right receiver. But is it gonna be the same thing like a fucking Beckham? That the guy's gonna come out eventually and be like, bro, this guy's a fucking scrub. He can't get me the rock. Right now, granted, at least Daniel's got a little bit more wheels than Eli Manning, but Eli Manning, to me, Daniel Jones is minus 2.0. Eli Manning.
It's like beta. Beta Eli Manning. He's not even a version.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, bruh, we're like, what are we doing? And then Saquon's coming off for injury. It's just like, I just feel like some of these teams are just not making sense. In my opinion, I would just trade back, and I would definitely look at the money ball situation of this game, because you are handcuffed if you put all your money to one guy.
and especially if he's not transcendent. If
Yes.
if the guy is transcendent, like I said,
But that's the thing.
Mahomes is
There's,
like
there's only one. Name another one.
as I was saying,
Trans
Mahomes. And you had
right.
Andrew Luck, but he
No,
didn't win a Super Bowl. But
no, he
he
doesn't count. It doesn't count. I would say Andrew Luck, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers are the last three transcending players that we've seen in our lifetime over the last 40 years. Because all three of those guys got chips, and all three of those guys can perform without a team. Because Andrew Luck was dope, but Andrew Luck was getting rocked.
but they were winning. He didn't have one losing season.
I get you, but they also had, the what they do in Indianapolis is phenomenal. They always have the best offensive line. They always have
They
the best
didn't.
defensive
They
line.
just got the best offensive line. He had
I
the
get
worst
that.
offensive line when he was there.
I get it.
They made
Did
him retire.
overall the history of the Colts as an organization. They get good players.
Yeah.
They're not an organization that put out scrubs. It's just
So I'm
that's
saying,
not.
like once the Colts got a good offensive line, he retires. Like
I
right when
get
they
that.
were right there.
But the thing is too is that it's like you're fucked when you're a good quarterback. If you got
Mhm.
wheels or if you're strong, it's like the organization is like, well, we don't really got to look at that. He can handle him,
Yep.
right? Because Russell Wilson doesn't have a fucking offensive line.